Hurts takes the snap. He's back. He's going to run. He's in! Touchdown! Jalen Hurts! The Eagles are just devouring the Giants. And it is A.J. Brown again! Another touchdown!
Welcome to an emergency pod of the Link lineup. My name is Chase, and I'm by myself today. Josh and Bryce are still at work. And I originally, told them, hey, we're not going to do a podcast discussing the 53-man roster, but some interesting moves happened today, and we got my juices flowing, and I decided, hey, we're going to put out an episode, even though it's just me. But yeah, I kind of wanted to go over some of the cuts, some surprises. So yeah, let's start off. I'll read the list of cut players, and we'll go from there. So we got wide receiver Devin Allen, linebacker Quentin Bell, quarterback Ian Book, running back Kennedy Brooks, D tackle Robert Cooper, wide receiver Britton Covey, cornerback Mekhi Gardner, guard Julian Good-Jones, wide receiver Jaden Hazelwood, DN Teron Jackson, tight end Tyree Jackson, linebacker Kyron Johnson, wide receiver Johnny King, linebacker Tyreek Maddox-Williams, safety Trishan McCullum, linebacker Nicholas Morrow, wide receiver Joseph Ngata, defensive end Janarius Robinson, guard Tyrese Robinson, tight end Brady Russell, D tackle Olive Sagapolu, whatever. D tackle Caleb Sanders, cornerback Josiah Scott, guard Josh Sills, punter Aaron Sipos, wide receiver Freddie Swain, linebacker Ben Van Sumeren, safety Kayvon Wallace, wide receiver Greg Ward, and then D tackle Marvin Wilson. Some of these were predictable. Some of them definitely caught me by surprise, and I'm sure it caught some of you by surprise as well. So let's go over some of the surprise cuts, in my opinion. Starting off with Britton Covey, some beat writers had him as a lock. I had him as a lock in my 53-man, just because of how he performed last year, towards the end of the year at punt returner. But the past couple of weeks, he didn't really practice, and he didn't play in the preseason game from what I remember. I know for a fact he didn't play the last two. So I know you can't make the team if you're hurt and you're not out there practicing and performing. This could easily be one of those cuts where they bring him to a practice squad and then elevate him. But just kind of leave them off the initial 53 due to they don't know the moves they're going to make. So, Britton Covey being cut is interesting. Maybe they aren't as high as some of us think they are, but he's cut nonetheless. I expect him to be back, but for now, he's have to go through the waiver wire. Next surprise cut, I guess. Mekhi Gardner, he had a solid showing in preseason and in camp. He'll definitely be a practice squad candidate. So, he's not really a surprise to me. He earned a spot in the practice squad. Let's see, Nicholas Morrow. So, Nicholas Morrow. Some people, expected us to carry 4 linebackers because Nicholas Morrow, he would be a great backup linebacker considering we have Nakobe Dean, Zach Cunningham right now, who, Nakobe Dean doesn't have much experience, and Zach Cunningham is maybe at the tail end of his career, or he might be rejuvenated and, come back and play for the Eagles and be better than ever. But he'd be a good backup quarterback linebacker, because he started with the Bears last year. I believe he played all 17 games. I may be wrong, but he'd be a good backup compared to Christian Ellis. However, Eagles cut him. Now they're going to the season as of right now, with 3 linebackers, with Nakobe Dean, Zach Cunningham, and Christian Ellis. So, I definitely think they're going to make a play here for a linebacker. And within the next 24 hours, we could see a move happen. Not sure what the move's going to be, but we could definitely see a move happen. Next up on the surprises, Kayvon Wallace. Not necessarily a surprise, but a bigger name to get cut. Now, Kayvon Wallace, during his time in Philly, hasn't been the greatest player. We've all seen it. He's been a special teams guy in the past, and you throw him at safety in a pinch. I remember him getting hurled over Zeke, and that's all I remember from really playing defense. But, I don't know. It could be interesting to see because the reports are multiple teams have already been in contact with him, and he's not going to come back to the Eagles on like the practice squad, or if they reach out to him after today. So he wants playing time. He's not going to get it here. So I don't know where he's going to go. If he can't beat out the safeties that we have right now currently, I don't know whose team you're going to have a chance to play for. So yeah, so I don't know what's going on with Kayvon. But he's not going to be back as an Eagle. So I had him left off of my 53-man. So point for Chase. The biggest cut today, was Aaron Sipos. I have been very vocal about how much I dislike Aaron Sipos. He is a below-average punter who had no competition going into training camp. We needed competition because he's not going to cut it. The divisional or the wild card game against Tampa 2 years ago, he shanked punts, and the whole last 5 games of the 2021 season, he was just shanking punts, and so he cost us. I'm not going to say he cost us the game in Tampa because we got beat, but he didn't help, and I don't try to remember that game at all because that game was not fun to watch. But I think that the Bucks run started because he shanked I think we're at the 20-yard line, or our 20-yard line, and he had a 20-yard punt. Didn't get past midfield because he shanked it. And that 5-game stretch before the Tampa game, he did the same exact thing. So, he hasn't been good in critical games. Also, example, the Super Bowl. I don't know, man. We can't go into the season with him as our punter, and I hope that we bring in somebody that has a strong leg, because in the pin 'em deep situations that he's had in the preseason, he's only kicking them 30 yards. And as I stated, I can kick it 30 yards. I can boot 130 yards. It's not going to have much hang time, but he doesn't have hang time either. If he had hang time, it'd be a totally different story, but he doesn't have it. So, I applaud Howie for doing this. I know that they're talking right now. They're having a press conference, and somebody brought up Aaron Sipos, and then Howie mentioned practice squad and bringing them up. So I hope this doesn't mean that it's going to be, we're going to cut you now, put you on the practice squad, and use that extra roster spot somewhere else. That would be bad. That'd be so bad and disheartening. But at the end of the day, he's on the team right now, and that's a start. It's a start. Can't wait to see what happens with that one. Josiah Scott got the boot, thank God. That's about it for the notable cuts. I guess if you're a Joseph and Ngata fan, I was. not so much anymore. It might surprise you. It probably shouldn't. He'll be back on the practice squad more than likely. Janarius Robinson is a not a surprise, but people had high hopes for him just because I believe his profile is like he's super athletic and he's like an athletic freak, but it's not translating yet. The instincts are lacking. He seems out of place sometimes, but it's something that with practice he could fix. I believe that's why the Vikings waived him last year. And it's just he doesn't have the instincts yet, and I hope he gets it because he could be special. But I expect him back on the practice squad as well. And that's about it for the surprise cuts. Congrats to Eli Ricks and Mario Goodrich for making the team. Eli Ricks played his way onto the team, and he earned the spot. He came into training camp with a pretty small chance of making it, but the Ravens game and the Colts game, he played his way on there. He was awesome against the first teamers against the Colts. He had a pick six against the Ravens, so he played his way onto the team. Very interesting story. Coming in, I believe as the second ranked cornerback or the first in his class, and just going from that to undrafted is a story. It's a story. So congrats to him. It seems like Mario Goodrich will have that backup slot corner role, which if you've been a fan long enough, you know that spot will get playing time at some point. You hope not, but history shows that Avonte Maddox does get hurt, and at some point there will be a backup slot playing slot quarterback. So, congrats to those two. Congrats to Justin Evans. Crazy. I feel like he had no shot of making the team, and then he goes out and tries to kill people every time he has a chance. And now there's talks of him starting at safety. Crazy, absolutely crazy. So that safety room is definitely interesting. But it seems like they're using those safeties as a linebacker. So that's probably why they're going light. Anything else? Anybody else? Contavious Street made the team. I don't think he'll be on the team for long, but we'll see. Moro Ajomo made the team. Congrats to him. He had a great showing in that second preseason game against the Browns, but unfortunately got hurt. It seems like he's all right. And Jalen Hurts made the team. Congrats to him. Can't wait to see what he does this year. But yeah, that's about it for the cuts. I kind of want to make a quick little pod just to put something out there to kind of go over my initial reactions. I feel like I'm missing something though, so I'll buy more time and try to come up with what I was thinking. The Eagles made a trade for a tight end from Denver. His name's Albert. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. I've heard it. I listened to it before I got on here. Already forgot how to pronounce it. So we're going to call him Albert O for the meantime. We traded a 7th round pick and then got a 6th round and him back. No, we got, okay. So we traded a 7th round pick, or no, a 6th round pick to get him and the 7th round pick for 2015 or 2025. Sorry. Crazy numbers, I guess. But so far, the consensus amongst fans is we fleeced the Broncos. I don't know how much we fleeced them because they were going to waive him. But he seems like an athletic freak, and that's what the Eagles target. I think I heard somebody say he runs a 4.4. That's fast. That's real fast. So we need a backup tight end. Hopefully he can fill that role. And I believe that would be the end of either Jack Stoll or Grant Calcaterra's time in Philly, if I had to guess. I don't think we roll with 4 tight ends during the year, but we will see. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I think Josh Sills was so. Josh Sills is an interesting topic because I don't want to go into what he did, or what he was accused of. But it's a sticky situation. When he got reinstated, they put him in with the twos right away, get him playing time, and it seemed like he was going to be a lock to make the team. He didn't make the team at all. He played in the fourth quarter in the last preseason game against the Colts, and now he's on the team. Very interesting, but yeah, there's also the Derek Barnett trade probably coming. I hope it comes. Derek Barnett's seeking a trade, so it'll be interesting to see what we get for him, if we get anything for him. I don't think he's a good football player. But I will always be thankful for the fumble recovery and the Super Bowl. We might not win that game without that play. I know Brandon Graham will always be the star of that play, but Derek Barnett played a huge part in getting the ball and holding on to it when he was getting tackled. But I guess the last thing I want to talk about is Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon didn't do well. And I know he's a fan favorite. Not sure why. Just because he didn't do well. He didn't do well at all. And I know last year, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but I know they put him into the game, and he had a couple decent runs, and it was refreshing because he seemed like he was like a power back, and that's something we lacked the past couple of years. We had Jordan Howard at one point in the past couple of years, but he was older, and he just wasn't what he was at one point. So we haven't had a true power back since probably LeGarrette Blount. I may be missing somebody, but that's the last person I can think of. And so fans were like, we need this. We got Miles Henderson, who's shifty. We got Boston Scott, who's small. And we got Kenneth Gainwell, who we didn't know at the time. We thought he was just a receiving back or a third down back. But he turned out to be a great short yardage running back. But people fell in love with Trey Sermon because they thought he could be that power back. And, during this preseason, he just didn't show anything. He had a lot of carries, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was less than 3 yards per carry. The last preseason game, he had tons of carries for no yards. He averaged less than 2 yards per carry. I hope he can stick around the practice squad, and maybe when the lights are shining at their brightest, and it's a meaningful game, maybe he plays well. But he's gone for now. I'm sure he'll be back on the practice squad. But the Eagles did hype him up a lot, so maybe some other teams out there heard about it and they want to give him a shot. But that'll probably be it for today's episode. The rosters are going to change by the time I upload this. It's 4:57 right now, and who knows? I could have missed a transaction right now, and not known about it. So Howie's going to be working the waiver wire. He's going to be looking to trade. So don't get too comfortable with the people on the team right now. It'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. So, with that being said, I'm Chase. You can follow me on X at Cardiac Chase. You can follow the show on all the social media at The Link Lineup. And, if you watch this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, share. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, Google, whatever the case may be, give us a rating, and then maybe leave a nice review. Leave a nice review. Tell us how much you like us. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back next week to preview the Patriots Eagles game. That'll be an exciting time because football will be back. But like I said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Go Birds.